All right, you are live. We had a bit hard time deciding what to talk about today, but I think we know. Let's see. So, yesterday, I'm learning French, as we all know now, and I came across this beautiful podcast. This podcast called Legend, a really good podcast. I'm looking for like really high quality stories to learn about French because it's quite boring if I just look at these children's stories and like read old boring books, right? So I'm reading this, or I find this podcast. I randomly go through a bunch of videos. I find this one new video, which they have, and it talks about maquillage, something like that. Basically what it's all about is a French lady who just who marries a footballer, I believe, who marries a footballer. The footballer had to now move to US. She moves to US with him, and she somehow picks up makeup, doing makeup. And then she was like, I love this. I love what makeup is all about. Makeup is all about hiding all the things about my face that I don't like and really highlighting the things that I like. That was interesting. And then she finds about this new service which is similar to like Uber for makeup, that hey, rich people, they want the ladies, they want makeup, so they would just like go on Uber. They would app similar to Uber. They would request for a makeup artist at a certain time, schedule it, and then they will show up and they will get your thing done. It's called Glam Squad. And she gets to be a part of Glam Squad. She lives in Washington D.C. She gets to be part of the Glam Squad in Washington D.C. And now she realizes that wait, who are her first client? The first client seems like very important people. And then she finds out that she's basically doing makeup for Donald Trump's son's wife, Vanessa Trump, which is Donald Trump Jr., who is the son of Donald Trump, his wife, Vanessa Trump, and her family. So it was very interesting. And that's how she got to become she's part of Glam Squad. She gets to be she's one of the really good artists. She's one of the really good makeup artists. She gets to be first part of Donald Trump's son's family. And then next year, now she becomes the makeup artist of Biden. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting story. But anyways, this is all just context to say that they talk a bit about Secret Service. So let's go from makeup to talking on U.S. Secret Service. All right, let's see what is their story. They do have this thing where they just wear sunglasses even in the night, all the time, and people are really curious. What is all about the Secret Service? Let's see. United States Secret Service. This is their emblem or logo. Okay. Under Armour cap, Apple Watch. This is New York. President of the United States. Really cool. I think this is Joe Biden trying to open the door. Okay. Let's see. Federal law enforcement agency under the Department of Homeland Security with a dual mission protection and investigation. Formation established July 5, 1865 by President Abraham Lincoln to combat the rampant counterfeiting of US currency following the Civil War. At the time, it was estimated that one third to one half of the currency in circulation was counterfeit. Wow. One third to one half expansion of duties. Initially focused on financial crimes, the Secret Service's responsibilities expanded after the assassination of President William McKinley in 1901 when it was tasked with presidential protection. Over time, many of its missions were taken over by other agencies like FBI, CIA, DEA, ATF, and IRSCI, but it retained its core functions of protection and financial crime investigation. Renowned for protecting the president, vice president, and their immediate families, former presidents, foreign dignitaries, and major national events. Hmm. Renowned for protecting the president, vice president, their immediate families, former presidents, foreign dignitaries, and major national events. This involves advanced planning, threat assessment, and the use of cutting edge technology. The agency investigates financial crimes such as counterfeiting, credit card fraud, money laundering, and has expanded its focus to include cyber crimes. The director oversees operations and reports to the Secretary of Homeland Security. Protective Operations Division focuses on the safety of high profile individuals and events. Investigative Division handles financial crimes and cyber crime investigations. Uniform Division provides security at the White House, foreign embassies, and other designated sites. Special Operations Division manages specialized security measures including counters, sniper teams, and canine units. Hmm. Secret Service has adapted to the digital age, focusing on cyber threats to individuals and institutions. The agency employs advanced technology for both protection and investigation, including facial recognition technology and unmanned aircraft systems. Hmm. Collaborations works closely with other law enforcement agencies and organizations to combat crime and ensure national security. Faces challenges like evolving cyber threats, the need for continuous technological upgrades, and the balance between security and public access to national leaders. Balance between security and public access to national leaders. Hmm. Who does the Secret Service protect? We got that. Can anyone become a Secret Service agent? Must meet strict requirements, including a background check, physical fitness test, and specialized training. Combat cybercrime through advanced technology and collaboration with other organizations. What is the uniformed division? Security at the White House, foreign embassies, and other critical locations. Let's check this out. What is the physical fitness requirement to be a US Secret Service agent? Rigorous physical fitness standards for the agents reflecting the demanding nature of their protective and investigative duties. Hmm. You all have to pack certain amount of muscle. Sit-ups, push-ups, 300 meters, 1.5 miles. Okay. Push-ups, 29 push-ups. Okay. That's for FBI agents. So 38 sit-ups, 29 push-ups. Oh, push-ups. We're not talking pull-ups. We're talking push-ups. Sorry. I was like, 29 pull-ups is a lot. Okay, this is push-ups. Sit-ups, push-ups, 300 meters. 300 meters, 59 seconds. 300 meters, 59 seconds. 1.5 miles, 12:29. Okay, interesting. I feel I can hit those. I feel I can hit my category over here. Okay, let's see. Push-ups, maximum number of push-ups in 1 minute. Maximum number of sit-ups in 1 minute. Chin-ups. Chin-ups, yes. With no time limit. Maximum number of chin-ups with no time limit. With no time limit. Chin-ups. That's the hard one. 1.5 mile run. Timed run to assess aerobic capacity. Score using a point system which varies based on age and gender. Excellent, good, fair, poor, very poor. Score a minimum of 6 points and at least 1 point in three of the four core fitness elements. Score a minimum of 9 points with at least 1 point Score a minimum of 9 points. Okay. Nine would be, let's say, excellent in two, good in three. Okay. Score a minimum of 9 points with at least 1 point in three of the four core fitness elements. Score a minimum of 10 points with at least 1 point in all four core fitness elements. Okay. They are adjusted for age and gender, recognizing that physical capabilities can vary. The number required for an excellent rating decreases with age, from 55 for men age 20 to 29 to 39 for men age 50 plus. Hmm. Similar adjustments are made for sit ups. Standards also vary, with men generally required to perform more than women. Time standards for the run are adjusted, with older candidates given more time to complete the distance. Applicants are encouraged to conduct a self assessment to ensure they meet or exceed the minimum fitness requirements before applying. It's recommended that applicants seek guidance from certified physical fitness trainers and nutrition professionals to prepare for the rigors of training. Importance of fitness. Crucial for agents to perform their duties effectively, especially in high stress, physically demanding situations. Fitness standards are designed to ensure agents can meet the physical demands of their job, from protective details to investigative work, are comprehensive, involving strength, endurance, and aerobic capacity test. Really cool. Hmm. What are the major events in the history of US Secret Service since its inception? Let's see. Rich history 65. Established on July 5, 1865 by President Abraham Lincoln to combat rampant counterfeiting following the Civil War. Chief William P. Wood was sworn in as the first Secret Service chief by Secretary of the Treasury Hugh McLeod. Whoa, 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 whoa. So this is what counterfeiting is happening. Secret Service guys. Wow. They are printing money. They are printing money. This is so interesting. When it becomes harder and harder to earn money, people just start making money. Hmm. The US Secret Service history and missions, analyst in emergency management and homeland security policy. Yes. This is so cool. This is so cool. The contrast of humans 2000 years ago versus the contrast of humans today. Interesting. They're wearing caps. They got big biceps. Over here, we got biceps as well. This guy is definitely eating more protein. His forearms are good. It's actually crazy. Like, how did everybody in the past was muscular? Or did artists just make them muscular because it just looked good as art? This is very interesting. Like, how did the average, like, was everybody muscular? Was everybody this muscular? Were they all eating a lot of, like, meeting their protein intake requirements? That is crazy. Okay, here we have the Secret Service. Nice. Okay. 67. Responsibilities expand to include detecting persons perpetrating frauds against the government, leading to investigations into various federal crimes. 70. Headquarters relocated from Washington, D.C. to New York City, returning to Washington 4 years later. This is interesting. Right. So there is a presence in New York City, but everybody is in Washington, D.C. The US, the first US Secret Service Commission book was issued. A new badge was adopted for Secret Service operatives Congress passed legislation prohibiting the counterfeiting of any coin, gold, or silver bar, officially acknowledged the Secret Service as a distinct organization within the Treasury Department. Secret Service began informal part-time protection of President Cleveland, prohibiting the counterfeiting or possession of counterfeit stamps. Following the assassination of President William McKinley, requested Secret Service protection for US presidents, assumed full-time responsibility for protection of the president with only two men initially assigned to the White House detail, began protecting the president-elect. Hmm. The Secret Service began protecting the president-elect. Right, right. So at first, it was just a part-time. At first, it was counterfeiting, protect the government, protect the money supply of the government. Then, after then, part-time protection, then full-time protection, then protecting the president-elect. Congress authorized permanent protection of the president's immediate family, then immediate family as well. 22. Request of President Warren G. Harding, a permanent, separate White House police force was created. Hmm. A permanent White House police force was created. White House police force was placed under the administration of Secret Service. Hmm. 50. Private Leslie Coffell, a White House police officer, was killed while protecting President Truman at Blair House. Interesting. President Truman. 51. Enacted legislation permanently authorizing Secret Service protection of the president, his immediate family, the president elect, and the vice president. The first formal special agent training school was held. Congress expanded coverage to include the vice president elect, and former president for a reasonable period. Congress authorized protection for major presidential and vice presidential candidates and nominees, and for widows of presidents until death or remarriage, and their children until age 16. Wow. 68. Congress authorized protection for major presidential and vice presidential candidates. So it went from just the president part time to full time to having a proper force, a specific force for the president, to protecting his immediate family, then protecting the president elect, then the vice president, then the vice president, then not just the president elect, but also the major presidential nominees and candidates, widows of presidents, widows of presidents until death or remarriage, and their children until age 16. Wow. 70. Phyllis Shantz became the first female officer sworn into the Executive Protective Service. Phyllis Shantz became the first female officer sworn into the Executive Protective Service, modern day uniform division. 71. The first five official female special agents were sworn in. The first five official female special agents were sworn in. Okay. 72. Assassination attempt was made on presidential candidate George Wallace. Congress authorized protection for the immediate family of the vice president. Oh, so his immediate family wasn't being protected yet. 99. United States Secret Service Memorial Headquarters building was dedicated in Washington, D.C. 2000. Presidential Threat Protection Act was passed, extending the Secret Service's authority to investigate threats to protectees and protectees. They call them protectees now because there's so many of them. And participate in security operations and national special security events. Amidst the 9/11 terrorist attack, Craig J. Miller of the Secret Service was killed. The USA Patriot Act was signed into law, leading to the establishment of electronic crimes task forces. 2002, Department of Homeland Security was established and the Secret Service was transferred into Department of the Treasury, from the Department of Treasury to DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Hmm. Homeland Security. Three, the Secret Service officially became part of the Department of Homeland Security. Barbara Riggs became the first woman in the agency's history to be named Deputy Director. 2006, the network of Secret Service Electronic Crimes Task Force expanded nationwide. Hmm. What are the major events in the history of Secret Service since 2010? Let's see. Let's see if we can get some interesting insights from the recent years. Okay, nice. 2010 marked 5 years. Iconic. Iconic. Hmm. Iconic. 2010 Secret Service marked 5 years under the Department of Homeland Security, having nearly 29,000 criminal arrests for counterfeiting, cyber investigations, and other financial crimes, with 98% of these resulting in convictions. Hmm. They also seized more than 295 million in counterfeit currency and investigated financial crime cases with an actual loss of 3.7 billion, preventing a potential loss of over 12 billion. Secret Service provided security for the Nuclear Security Summit in Washington D.C., a designated national special security event involving protective details for the president, vice president, and 37 heads of state government and their spouses. Protective details for the president, vice president, 37 heads of state slash government, 37 heads. So everybody, I'm guessing, would be getting at least 2 to 3 people in the detail. Wow. 2012, a scandal involving Secret Service agents taking prostitutes back to their hotel rooms during a presidential trip to Cartagena, Colombia, led to an investigation into the agency's culture. Hmm. 2013, Julia A. Pearson was sworn in as the first female director of the Secret Service. 2013, the former President's Protection Act of 2012 was passed, reversing a previous law that limited Secret Service protection for former presidents and their families to 10 years if they served after 1997. This act ensured lifetime protection for former President George W. Bush and future former presidents. Hmm. So after 97, they had a law that Secret Service could only work for 10 years, for up to 10 years for those who served after 97. But for George Bush, they changed it. Hmm. 2014, a series of security lapses, including an armed Intruder scaling the White House fence and gaining access to the interior of the executive mansion led to the resignation of director Julia Pearson. 2013, Julia Pearson was sworn in as the first female director of the Secret Service. Wow. A series of security lapses, including an armed intruder scaling the White House fence and gaining access to the interior of the executive mansion, led to the resignation of director Julia Pearson. 2014, Secret Service faced criticism following two high profile incidents involving intruders at the White House. During a peaceful protest outside Lafayette Square, the Secret Service acted contrary to an operational plan, advancing 7 minutes before US Park Police gave dispersal warnings, leading to increased tensions and the use of pepper spray. This incident was a part of a controversial use of force to remove protesters for a photo opportunity by President Trump. Acted contrary to an operational plan, advancing 7 minutes before US Park Police gave dispersal warnings, leading to increased tensions and the use of pepper spray. This incident was part of a controversial use of force to remove protesters for a photo opportunity by President Trump. A Secret Service officer shot a man during one of President Trump's press conferences who was later found to be holding a comb, not a gun, and was charged with simple assault. Oh no. 21. Secret Service warned Capitol Police of threats of violence. Secret Service warned Capitol Police of threats of violence before the January 6th United States Capitol attack. They provided security and evacuated Vice President Mike Pence during the riot. 22. Assisted in the seizure of the Hacker Forum raid forums. 24. Agents shot and killed Thomas Matthew Crooks during an assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. This incident led to the resignation of Kimberly Cheetle as the director of the Secret Service. Hmm. What are the major criticisms faced by Secret Service in 2014? White House intrusion. The most notable incident was intrusion by Omar J. Gonzalez. Kingsman. Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Caine, Colin Firth. Who jumped the White House fence, entered the building, and was only stopped after reaching the East Room. This breach highlighted several failures in the Secret Service's security protocols, including fence and plainclothes officer was not spotted by plainclothes officer patrolling the perimeter. Crash boxes and front doors. The alarm system failed to lock the front door, allowing Gonzalez to enter the White House. Booth agent. The officer in the guard booth did not send an attack dog or a SWAT team to intercept Gonzalez. Hmm. Attack dog. The officer hesitated to release the attack dog due to the presence of other agents, fearing the dog might attack them instead of Gonzalez. Interesting. Why would you like? That's what the attack dog should be trained for. Unknown person. SWAT team and extra guard. SWAT team and extra guard. The no SWAT team or additional guard was sent to the front door to confront Gonzalez. Gonzalez ran past the guard inside the north portico door through the entrance hallway and into the east room before being tackled by an off duty agent. CDC. During a visit to the Centers for Disease Control, the Secret Service allowed an armed security guard with a criminal history to be on an elevator with President Obama, violating protocol. Hmm. This incident was initially misreported, with the Secret Service providing incomplete information to Congress. Providing inaccurate information to Congress. Three directors in a row, Sullivan, Pearson, and Clancy, provided inaccurate or misleading information to Congress regarding various incidents. Lack of accountability. The agency was seen as lacking accountability with a culture of corner cutting and an attitude of do with less. We make do with less, leading to inadequate protection measures. Morale and attrition. Reports indicated low morale, high attrition rates, and ongoing misconduct issues with the agency. Failure to conduct background checks. The agency failed to conduct background checks on armed security guards at the CDC, allowing an individual with a criminal history to be near the president. Inadequate response to threats. Response to threats was deemed insufficient, with incidents like the 2011 White House shooting not being properly investigated initially. Sensitive security equipment and documents were left unsecured in agents' room, highlighting a lack of discipline and security consciousness. Led to a loss of public confidence in Secret Service's ability to protect the president and the White House. Critics, including lawmakers and media, pointed out that these breaches were emblematic of deeper managerial and cultural problems with the agency. The bipartisan report by the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee recommended significant reforms, including ensuring sufficient funding for staffing, better training, and the appointment of a new director from outside the agency to address these systemic issues. Hmm. Let's see. Let's go very back. Tell me the story. In the aftermath of the Civil War, the United States faced a significant economic challenge: rampant counterfeiting. Hmm. Science legislation establishing the U.S. Secret Service. By 1865, it was estimated that one third to one half of the currency in circulation was counterfeit, undermining the nation's ability. To address this issue, it took a decisive action. Recognizing the severity of the counterfeiting problem, signed an order establishing the U.S. Secret Service. Tasked with combating the widespread counterfeiting that plagued the country, the Secret Service was initially placed under the Department of Treasury, reflecting its primary mission to protect the nation's financial integrity. The first chief of the Secret Service was William P. Wood, who was sworn in by Secretary of the Treasury. Wood, a former chief of hmm, Wood, a former chief of Washington Metropolitan Police, brought his experience in law enforcement to the new agency. The Secret Service began its operations with a focus on counterfeiting. Agents were deployed to infiltrate counterfeiting rings, gather intelligence, and make arrests. Began its operations with a focus on counterfeiting. Agents were deployed to infiltrate counterfeiting rings, gather intelligence, and make arrests. These efforts were crucial in restoring confidence in the US currency, which was essential for economic recovery post war. Responsibilities expanded, broadened its mandate, detecting persons perpetuating fraud against the government, federal crimes. Expansion marked the beginning of Secret Service's dual mission of protection and investigation. The establishment was pivotal in US history. It not only addressed an immediate economic threat, but also laid the foundation for an agency that would evolve to protect national leaders and investigate a wide array of financial crimes. Actually, I think this would be interesting. Who is the most successful US? I don't know if successful is the right word, but let's see. Successful US Secret Service director. Subjective. Okay. Oh, here are some notable directors. Julia Pearson, first female director, first woman to lead the Secret Service, marking historic milestone for the agency. She initiated reforms to address cultural issues with the agency, including efforts to improve morale and address misconduct. Okay. Okay. We are not sure though. What does this headline say? Who is Secret Service Director Kimberly? Oh, Kimberly is the one veteran of the Secret Service who was appointed by President Biden to helm the agency nearly 2 years ago. Interesting. She initiated reforms to address cultural issues with the agency, including efforts to improve morale and address misconduct. However, tenure was marred by security breaches, leading to her resignation in 2014. Okay, this is bad. Like I asked for more successful, and Perplexity is saying that her only success was that she was the first woman, but there were security breaches in just 1 year. Interesting. Joseph P. Clancy, Restoration of Confidence. This was 1417. Okay. Appointed after Pearson's resignation, Clancy aimed to restore public confidence in the Secret Service. He implemented changes to improve security protocols and agent training. He led the agency through a period of intense scrutiny following security lapses, focusing on operational improvements. But we also read how Pearson and Clancy both were involved in misrepresenting or kind of hiding information from Congress. Randolph, wait, why isn't he giving me older people? Yes, notable contribution. First Chief Wood established the Secret Service and laid the foundation for its counterfeiting investigation. Lewis Merrill expanded the agency's investigative scope beyond counterfeiting. John E. Wilkie professionalized the agency, introducing formal training and expanding its investigative capabilities. Ronald Rowe Jr. took over as acting director following Cheadle's resignation. His appointment came at a critical time with the agency facing scrutiny over security lapses. Security lapses have been happening for last 10 years. Randolph was tasked with reorganizing the agency to address operational failures. He focused on enhancing security measures and improving the agency's response to threats. He expanded the focus on cybersecurity, recognizing the growing threat of cyber enabled financial crimes. James Murray, 25 years of service, brought extensive experience to the role. He was responsible for the agency's dual mission, continue to integrate advanced technology for both protection and investigation processes. Okay, it seems like leadership was very well during this time, done pretty well this time. But also, it's interesting, right? Because Secret Service, the job is security, and you just need one security lapse for everything to break. But I think one security lapse is still okay. If you have a lot of lapses, like in in the case that we saw with the White House 2014, then that's a problem. Okay. Kimberly. Cheadle aimed to increase diversity within agency setting a goal for 30% of recruits to be female by 2030. Her tenure was marked by the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, leading to significant criticism and her eventual resignation. Hmm, interesting. Tell me, what are the major events in the career of Kimberly Cheadle as a director, as the director of U.S. Secret Service? Let's see. Major events appointment. Appointed as the 27th director of the U.S. Secret Service by President Joe Biden, August 22, becoming the second woman to hold the position. She assumed office on September 17, 2022, after serving as the senior director of global security at PepsiCo. Wow. After serving as the senior director of global security at PepsiCo. Oh no. Oh no. Is that the same? Senior director of global security at PepsiCo. What kind of security does PepsiCo need? Okay. And is that skill relevant over here? Interesting. In 23, Cheadle emphasized the need to attract diverse candidates, particularly women, to the Secret Service. She set a goal for 30% of recruits to be female by 2030. April 24, following an incident where a female agent on Vice President Kamala Harris's detail attacked, whoa, a female agent on Vice President Kamala Harris's detail attacked her superior officer. Cheadle faced scrutiny over hiring, training, and disciplinary processes. The Secret Service downplayed reports of a petition alleging security vulnerabilities. July 13, 24. Wow, wow. An assassination attempt on President, former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania led to widespread criticism of the Secret Service's security measure. Wait, my question was, what are the major events? Oh, I thought I asked major achievements, but these are the major events. That makes sense. Secret Services security measures. She was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the time, preparing for the Republican National Convention. July 22, congressional hearings and resignation. Cheadle testified before the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, where she faced bipartisan calls for her resignation. She acknowledged the incident as the most significant operational failure at the Secret Service in decades, but initially refused to resign. Resigned from her position as director of the Secret Service amid growing scrutiny and pressure from lawmakers. She cited the security lapse as her reason for stepping down, expressing her desire not to distract from the agency's mission. She received ongoing threats and was assigned her own security detail. Wow. 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 I'm guessing this is when she was appointed, and this is at the end of her tenure. Interesting. Interesting. President Biden thanked Cheadle for her service, and the Department of Homeland Security appointed Deputy Director Ronald Rowe as the interim leader. Introduced legislation requiring Senate confirmation for Secret Service directors and establishing a 10-year term limit to avoid politicization of the post. introduced legislation requiring Senate confirmation for Secret Service directors and establishing a 10-year limit to avoid politicization of the post. Tell me more about her job as the senior director of global security at PepsiCo. Women in security, where she was responsible for directing and implementing security protocols and procedures for the company's corporate facilities. Hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. Like the kind of work Secret Service does, is that the same kind of work that would be done to protect the corporate facilities of PepsiCo? Security protocols and procedures. Cheadle's primary responsibility was to ensure the safety and security of PepsiCo's employees and facilities. She developed and implemented security measures to protect the company's assets, personal, and business operations. Significant part of her role involved developing risk management assessments and risk mitigation strategies. This included assessing potential threats, identifying potential security risk to PepsiCo's facilities and personnel, mitigation strategies, implementing strategies to reduce or eliminate these risks, ensuring business continuity and employee safety. Viewed her role as a support function, ensuring that employees felt secure in their work environment and that PepsiCo would continue its core business activities without disruption. She emphasized the importance of working behind the scenes to support the company's mission. Her work focused on ensuring that PepsiCo could maintain its operations even in the face of security threats or incidents. This involved crisis management, developing plans to respond to security breaches or other emergencies, overseeing the implementation of security systems, surveillance, access control, and other protective measures, collaborated with various departments within PepsiCo to integrate security measures into the company's overall operations, ensuring a holistic approach to security. Where she was known for leadership and innovation, likely influenced her approach at PepsiCo. She brought a fresh perspective to security management, focusing on proactive measures and technological advancements. Okay, okay. And very interesting appointment by President Biden. Okay, let's see. What, let's see. What led to the rampant counterfeiting in US after the Civil War? If you can find anything interesting over here. Lack of standardized currency. Prior to the Civil War, US did not have a standardized national currency. Instead, hundreds of state chartered bank. Whoa, okay. Interesting. No standard currency. Wow, that's true. Like US is a new country, right? Northern Bank, Kentucky, 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 Kentucky. Northern Bank, Kentucky, $1. Wow, interesting. Prior to the Civil War, the US did not have a standardized national currency. Instead, hundreds of state chartered banks issued their own banknotes. Rhode Island Central Bank, Confederate States, America. Printed by James Parler, New Jersey, £6. To counterfeit in death. What? What does that mean? To counterfeit is to counterfeit is death. To counterfeit is death. Okay, interesting. Instead, hundreds of state chartered banks issued their own banknotes, creating a diverse and confusing array of currency. This lack of uniformity made it easier for counterfeiters to produce fake notes that could pass as legitimate. The Civil War left the US economy in disarray. The Union and Confederate governments the Union and Confederate governments both issued paper currency to finance the war, leading to an influx of new, often poorly designed and easily counterfeited notes. The Confederate currency, in particular, was vulnerable due to its poor quality and Confederacy's limited access to modern printing technology. Advances in printing technology made it easier for counterfeits to produce high quality replicas of banknotes. Right. Because the official currency is so poor quality and modern printing technology is just coming up. If the counterfeiters get their hands on the modern printing technology, they can make a more higher quality note than the actual currency, which might look even more legit to people, which is so interesting. Wow. Advances in printing technology, like people would rather trust this counterfeit because of its high quality nature than the low quality actual real currency. Wow. That's when the bad guys have better technology than the good guys. Okay. Which is so interesting. Wow. Hmm. Advances in printing technology made it easier for counterfeiters to produce high quality replicas of banknotes. The availability of scanning and printing devices further facilitated counterfeiting efforts. Criminal exploitation. Criminals saw the chaotic financial situation as an opportunity. Both in the North and South took advantage of the confusion and the lack of effective law enforcement to produce and distribute counterfeit currency. Some even operated across state lines, making it difficult for authorities to track them down. Across state lines. What does that mean? Like in the middle, at the border, right at the border? Government response and creation of the Secret Service led to the establishment, initially focused on combating counterfeiting, tasked with purging the country of fake bills. Creation was a response to the problem rather than preventative measure. Hmm. General public hostility towards bankers and paper money, which sometimes led to leniency towards counterfeiters. Juries often acquitted counterfeiters, and governors frequently pardoned them, reflecting a broader societal disdain for the banking system. Wow, wow. So interesting, so interesting. This has been going on. This goes on even today, where bankers are societal, broader societal disdain for the banking system. And it's true even today. General public hostility towards bankers and paper money, which sometimes led to leniency towards counterfeiters. Wow. They're like, hey, bankers are bad guys. So you are not that bad. Both are bad, but you are less bad. They are more bad. So leniency towards counterfeiters. Juries often acquitted counterfeiters and governors frequently pardoned them. Economic warfare. During the Civil War, both sides engaged in economic warfare through counterfeiting. The Union government did not actively encourage counterfeiting, Confederate currency, but it allowed Northern printers to continue the practice, contributing to the economic turmoil in the South. Okay, I do not have any context about the Civil War. Like, who are they fighting? What are they fighting about? The influx of counterfeit currency led to significant inflation. Estimates suggest that between 5.36 and 6.04 of all bills in circulation when the Confederate economy began to collapse were counterfeit, exacerbating economic instability. Combination of factors including the lack of standardized currency, economic chaos, technological advancements. Hmm. I am curious. Quotes from Abraham Lincoln. Definitely, if we are here and if he's an iconic personality, we need some quotes. We live on quotes. We get excited by quotes. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. He has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. He has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. Makes sense? Nothing valuable can be lost by taking time. Nothing valuable can be lost by taking time. Hmm. Nothing valuable can be lost by taking time. So he's basically talking about how valuable time is. Time is the most valuable thing. Four score and 7 years ago, four score and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. It's actually crazy. This is actually so true. Like when we think about America, I think this is what really changed my mind this year. Like this year, I started thinking of America differently. I started thinking of America as no, this is not like it's not like India is a place for Indians, China is a place for Chinese, Japan is a place for Japanese, but America is not a place for Americans. It's kind of like a, a land of opportunity, and everybody moved here and they set up their life over here. And this is kind of something we get over here that hey, conceived in liberty. Like even Americans are not like American. They were not born over here. They are. If you talk to a bunch of people, they are like, oh, I'm half Irish and half English and half this and half that. Like they have a really interesting. Like most of them have their their profiles on ancestry.com, and when you look at that, you get a really good percentages that hey, I'm 5% Irish and 13% like Swedish and something like that. So they were also everybody moved over here. Their forefathers moved over here, and they just wanted freedom. They just wanted this new land of opportunity where they can build something from ground up all over again. And this is kind of the new land of opportunity. And this is kind of what we see in 1860s. A new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. You come here and you realize that hey, yeah, we all are equal. That's the only thing that unites us. Yeah, we don't look the same. I look different, you look different. But the only thing that unites us when we're on this land is this is the land of opportunity and we can do something good together. We can create a good life together. Okay. We should nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. I don't know what he's talking about, but that's good. We shall nobly save or meanly lose. Okay. You can fool all the people some of the time and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Make sense? Make sense? This is becoming more and more evident with Twitter. With Twitter, earlier with Reddit, now with Twitter, where you have these investigators. At any time something goes wrong, there are a few people who are just really smart, who know something's fishy, and they will go dig deep into it and find everything on it. And that's what we're seeing more and more now. You can fool all the people some of the time and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. But that also leads to more conspiracy. The more access we have to uh, the global world and the opinions of everyone, we are more influenced by even conspiracies that don't sound 100% true, that are not 100% fact. And we start to believe in it. But okay, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first four sharpening the axe. Make sense? Hmm. I leave you hoping that the lamp of liberty will burn in your bosoms until there shall no longer be a doubt that all men are created free and equal. This photo is epic. Like, what is this photo about? Where is he sitting at? This is like Game of Thrones kind of shit. I thought Abraham Lincoln was another live sneeze. Okay. I thought Abraham Lincoln was just a leader, but this pose makes him look like a monarch or something, Game of Thrones kind of guy. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We have a lot over here. I'm not bound to win, but I'm bound to be true. I'm not bound to succeed, but I'm bound to live up to what light I have. I'm not bound to win, but I'm bound to be true. I'm not bound to succeed, but I'm bound to live up to what light I have. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. This makes sense. This makes sense. Yeah. Sean Puri from My First Million, he talks a lot about the best skill is to control your mood. Like, no matter what's happening, you stay calm, even happy. And I think that is true. Like, when we are happy, we smile. And the opposite works. The opposite is true too. Where if you just physically smile, you become happy. You start feeling good. Okay. Whatever you are, be a good one. Whatever you are, be a good one. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? Ooh. Okay. Really cool. Really cool. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? Okay. That's a very interesting way to think about it. Do I not destroy my friends? So, how to destroy enemies? Make them your friends. Make them your friends. America will never be destroyed from the outside if we falter and lose our freedoms. It will be because we destroyed ourselves. Wow. Wow. America will never be destroyed from the outside if we falter and lose our freedoms. It will be because we destroyed ourselves. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. Hmm. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. Wow, that's really cool. Similarly, a best friend, similarly your best friend would be a person today in today's time. My best friend keeps sending me YouTube videos to watch. So I'm guessing that's the today's version of this quote. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. Hmm. We need more context. We need more context over here. What do you mean by God is always right? I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Whew. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. This is very interesting. Like, I read about this, I forgot where I read, but I read about this, like why marriage is important, or a different perspective to marriage. A different perspective to marriage is that when you marry someone, now you live together, and when you live together, this person, especially for guys, the you kind of want to earn their respect every single day. So, and they have expectations of you. I'm paraphrasing. I'm totally paraphrasing of my understanding, but it's basically like marrying makes you a better person because you are with this person who expects you to show up, to take care of the family, to protect the family, that forces you, that disciplines you in doing the right things always. And then that keeps going on until you then grow a family. And when you grow a family, you again grow a family of really solid people. That's so interesting. That is so interesting. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Similarly I have like two friends. I have two really good friends, and we keep sharing our goals. We keep sharing what we want to work on, and it's very interesting. Like, I also love to call people out, like especially my good friends. I love to call people out that hey, if they keep talking about the same problem again and again, there's a problem. You are not doing something. You are just complaining. That is very interesting. Like every time I talk to my buddies, I quickly realize like they call me out or I myself realize that wait, I am complaining about the same thing, so I should rather start working towards it because I don't want to let him down. I don't want to let this relationship down. We both are here to grow together. And how this works is where we both share our, let's say that our downs, we both share our highs with each other, we are both happy, and then we both share our lows with each other, and then we realize what we need to work on, and then we go and work on to again share our highs. And sometimes the really interesting moments are when one person is high and the other person is down, and that balances out. That doesn't balances out. One person is high, other person is low, and the person who's at high, he can really help the person who's low today to come up, to his level, and just be better. And that is really helpful because between me and my friends, sometimes I'm having a good day and he's not, so I can help bring him up. Some days he's having a great day and I'm not, and that conversation brings me up. And that is what's happening over here. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. I didn't have the heart to let him down. I didn't have the heart to let him down. This is really good. This is really good. This is really good. I think it's also the fact that like sometimes people see a lot of potential in you that you don't really see. And I think I read this quote somewhere that a lot of people, you don't know, but a lot of people are scared of your potential, which is very interesting way to think about it. You don't know that a lot of people are actually scared of your potential because they know you're going somewhere and they know you will do it. But the only problem is you don't believe in it. Hmm. That is interesting. This is when you are in the intermediary, you're stuck in the intermediary. You have done a lot of work to get here, but you are also not at your ideal place. You are somewhere in between. You are in the transitory phase and you will get there, but it's going to take something. It's going to take something. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? Hey, this is a good quote. Some net new information. It's very hard. It's very hard. Like, as I love to read quotes, but I think as you read more and more quotes, pretty much you understand that hey, people are talking about the same things all the time. It's about motivation, discipline, love, friendships, relationships, taking care of your health, be more wealthy, be more free, stuff like that. So what hits now is reframing things, or rarely it's a net new thing. This is a net new thing. A poetic way to say the same thing is beautiful. I think this is also interesting. A lot of times some things happen to you. A lot of times when you do something new, you step in the unknown. You step in the unknown. You're feeling something interesting, but you cannot put that into words. And then a person who is just older than you, more experienced than you, who has just gone through it, they can put that exact feeling into words, and you're like, shit, this is it. This is exactly how I feel. I just didn't know how to put that into words. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. This is very similar to like when I read the Hayao Miyazaki quote that hey, see the good in that which is evil, and evil in that which is good. Pledge yourself to no side. Pledge yourself to neither side. Pledge yourself to neither side. Instead, vow instead to preserve the balance, preserve the balance between the two. So I'm trying to remember the exact quote. So that's the reason uh, I'm thinking a lot. But I think that's a quote that I think about a lot because it's like every time something happens, every time you look back into the history, you're reading about the bad things that have happened. But if those bad things wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't be here today. So a lot of bad things have happened, but if that wouldn't have happened, then we wouldn't be here today. And that kind of puts things into perspective that, hey, this is it. Like we will have good things, we'll have bad things. And you have to preserve the balance of the both. We read this. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. Right. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. When I do good, this is actually very interesting. I read this quote. I think I'm really living this quote, which is life rewards action, not intelligence. We are not supposed to come up with net new information and net new thoughts, original thoughts that nobody has ever thought of, because the real problem is, even after we intellectualize, we overthink all that stuff, we still got nowhere because we didn't take any action. So the most important thing is action, not intelligence. And then you might find an original thought by someone else, but but the great thing is that they don't have the practice of taking action, but you do. So you can actually take that original thought and you can actually put implement that better than them. So life rewards action, not intelligence. So interesting. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. Those who those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. I'm a slow walker, but I never walk back. Whoo. I'm a slow walker, but I never walk back. I'm a slow walker, but I never walk back. This is very metaphorically. It would be very funny if this is literally the case where he's like, I never walk back. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. I don't know what this means. This is a good one. You can fool some of the people all the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. I would rather be a little nobody than to be an evil somebody. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for that day. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for that day. If I were two faced, would I be wearing this one? Hmm. All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Beautiful quote. Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow. Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is a real thing. Makes sense. Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is the real thing. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. The best way to predict your future is to create it. No man is poor who has a godly mother. No man is poor who has a godly mother. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. No man has a good enough Okay, this is actually really good. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. A lot of good things and a lot of good things in the past have happened for me just because I was just doing the things that I liked, and then my chance came. Hmm. And then my chance came. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. The strongest bond of human sympathy should be one uniting working people of all nations and tongues and kindreds. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. It's not me who can keep a secret. It's the people I tell that I can't. It's not me who can keep a secret. It's the people I tell that can. Funny, funny, funny. You have to do your own growing, no matter how tall your grandfather was. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices, have very few virtues. Whoa, 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 whoa. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. Wow, 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 wow. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? He's talking about the fact that people with a lot of virtues have a lot of vices, which is interesting. It is a balance, right? Very interesting. I'm not concerned that you have fallen. I'm concerned that you arise. The better part of one's life consists of his friendships. The better part of one's life consists of his friendships. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. Achievement has no color. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. Determine that the thing can and shall be done, and then find the way. Can and shall be done, and then find the way. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. You can make a weak man strong by making a strong man weak. You can make a weak man strong by making a strong man weak. Hmm. Life is hard, but so very beautiful. It often requires more courage to dare, to do right, than to fear to do wrong. Hmm. If people see the capital going on, it is a sign we intend the union shall go on. Nothing will divert me from my purpose. No man is good enough to govern another man without that other's consent. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. Tis better people think you a fool. Open your mouth and erase all doubt. Tis better people think you a fool than open your mouth and erase all doubt. I'm nothing. Truth is everything. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. A nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure. Everybody like compliments. Important principles may and must be inflexible. Everybody likes compliments. This is cool. I think the another quote which is very interesting is that everybody walks around uh, with a piece of paper hanging around their neck, with a piece of poster, poster or something hanging around the neck, which says, "Give me validation. I want validation." which was so interesting. Everybody walks around with a poster hanging on their necks that says, I want validation. Important, I want to be seen, something like that. Important principles may and must be inflexible. Your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. It is not best to swap horses while crossing the river. Because you need a lot of trust. You need to trust, you need to know your horse very well. You can lose everything in life, but not dreams. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be old. I have been too familiar with disappointments to be very much chagrined. Gold is good in its place, but living brave, patriotic men are better than gold. But living brave, patriotic men are better than gold. As our case is new, we must think and act anew. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature. Prosperity is the fruit of labor. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate for to the stormy present. We have, as all will agree, a free government where every man has a right to be equal with every other man. In this great struggle, this form of government and every form of human right is endangered if our enemies succeed. Wow, these are a lot of quotes. Lot of quotes. Well, let's go through it. Some will just stick in our mind. I'm always for the man who wishes to work. Let us have faith that right makes might. And in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it. If you would win a man to your cause, first convince him that you are his sincere friend. Do good to those who hate you and turn their ill will to friendship. If the great American people will only keep their temper on both sides of the line, the troubles will come to an end. If the great American people will only keep their temper on both sides of the line, the troubles will come to an end. I don't know who my grandfather was. I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. Wow. I don't know who my grandfather was. I'm much I'm much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. I'm much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. He's talking about himself. I'm much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. I do the very best I know how. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. Human action can be modified to some extent, but human nature cannot be changed. A farce or comedy is best played, a tragedy is best read at home. If I'm killed, I can die, but I can die but once. But to live in constant dread of it is to die over and over again. I can make a general in 5 minutes, but a good horse is hard to replace. I say try. If we never try, we should never succeed. I say try. If we never try, we should never succeed. I say try. If we never try, we should never succeed. That's so interesting. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. You are ambitious, which, within reasonable bounds, does good rather than harm. In reasonable bounds, a very interesting addition. In your hands, my dissatisfied fellow countrymen, and not in mine, is the momentous issue of civil war. The government will not assail you. You can have no conflict without being yourselves the aggressors. You have no oath registered in heaven to destroy the government, while I shall have the most solemn one to preserve, protect, and defend it. And having thus chosen our course without guile and with pure purpose, let us renew our trust in God and go forward without fear and with many manly hearts. Let us renew our trust in God and go forward without fear and with manly hearts. The struggle of today is not altogether for today, it is for a vast future also. The struggle of today is not altogether for today, it is for a vast future also. I expect to maintain this contest until successful, or till I die, or am conquered, or my term expires, or Congress or the country forsakes me. We still have a lot to go. Okay, that's broken eggs cannot be mended, but Louisiana has nothing to do now but take her place in the Union as it was, bearing the already broken eggs. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion as our case is new. So we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. As labor is the common burden of our race, so the effort of some to shift their share of the burden on the shoulders of others is the greatest durable curse of the race. The ant who has toiled and dragged a crumb to his nest will furiously defend the fruit of his labor against whatever robber assails him. So plain that the most dumb and stupid slave that ever toiled for a master does constantly know that he is wronged. Most dumb and stupid slave that ever toiled for a master does constantly know that he is wronged. Wow. 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 So he's talking about how an ant's natural instinct is this. So if a human does the same, which is the labor, but not fight for the reward, they might be dumb and stupid. Wow. They might not be operating with their natural human instincts. Wow. Wow, this is good. This is good. The ant who has toiled and dragged a crumb to his nest will furiously defend the fruit of his labor against whatever robber assails him. So plain that the most dumb and stupid slave that ever toiled for a master does constantly know that he is wronged. Wow, wow. Ideally, that should be coming from within, but if that isn't coming, if they are not fighting, that means they have been programmed to do so. They are not operating like a free human. They're not operating with their natural human instincts. And a lot of work has been done to what's the word? Attenuate, to lower those human instincts. A lot of programming has been done to lower those instincts. Wow. Wow. Free labor has inspiration of hope, pure slavery has no hope. I hold if the Almighty has had ever made a set of men that should do all the eating and none of the work, he would have made them with mouths only and no hands. And if he had ever made another class that he had intended should do all the work and none of the eating, he would have made them without mouths and with all hands. Hmm. Work is the main thing. Work, work is the main thing. It's so interesting that he's trying to create like a distinction between that, hey, that is slavery where you work, but you are not getting the rewards, you are not getting the fruits of your labor. But then he's also talking about how work is so important. Work. Every man, black, white, or yellow, has a mouth to be fed and two hands with which to feed it. And that bread should be allowed to go to that mouth without controversy. I'm not ashamed to confess that 25 years ago I was a hired laborer mauling rails at work on a flatboat, just what might happen to any poor man's son. I want every man to have a chance. I hold that while man exists, it is his duty to improve not only his own condition, but to assist in ameliorating mankind. Ameliorating is a French word which means improvement. Wow. To assist in ameliorating, ameliorate, ameliorement, ameliorement, mankind. And therefore, I will simply say that I am for those means which will give the greatest good to the greatest numbers. I'll simply say that I hold that while man exists, it is his duty to improve not only his own condition, but to assist in ameliorating mankind. Ameliorating mankind. And therefore, I will simply say that I am for those means which will give the greatest good to the greatest numbers. Greatest good to the greatest numbers. I have an irrepressible desire to live till I can be assured that the world is a little better for my having lived in it. I have an irrepressible desire to live till I can be assured that the world is a little better for my having lived in it. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. With malice towards none, with clarity for all, let us strive on to finish the work we are in. Let's finish the work. All right, that's the stream. Let's go. That was a good one. That was a good one.